At 5:24 in the morning, a small speedboat made a mistake in the Caribbean. It wasn't a mechanical failure. It wasn't bad weather. It was a single wrong turn. Within minutes, that decision would put them face to face with a fully armed U.S. Navy destroyer. And once the Navy noticed them, there was no such thing as just leaving. What followed wasn't a high-speed chase like in the movies. It was something far worse. This was a hunt. A U.S. Navy destroyer had been patrolling the area for weeks, tracking shipping patterns, monitoring traffic, and waiting. Intelligence suggested that cartel shipments were using this corridor to move drugs north. Not loudly, not recklessly, quietly. Every friendly vessel was logged, every anomaly stood out. On the bridge, a radar operator leaned forward. A small return flickered on the screen. Weak, inconsistent, easy to dismiss as clutter, sea spray, or even birds. Most crews would have ignored it. This one didn't. The contact had no AIS signal, no broadcast ID, and it was moving faster than anything else in the area. That was the first red flag. The operator reported it immediately. Within seconds, the bridge shifted from routine monitoring to quiet focus. No alarms, no raised voices, just eyes locking onto screens. The commanding officer stepped forward and ordered the electro-optical cameras to slew toward the contact. At the same time, he lifted his binoculars. What he saw confirmed everything. A boat, small, low profile, riding heavy, and moving with purpose. He checked the time, 5:24 a.m. No fishing gear, no visible cargo, no reason to be out there at that speed, and definitely not a family ride. They had a runner. The radar updated again. The contact wasn't zigzagging or drifting. It wasn't testing equipment or cutting random lines. It was transiting. Straight through open water, using the shipping lanes just well enough to blend in, but not well enough to disappear. Whoever was driving knew these waters. That detail mattered. On the bridge, nobody rushed. The destroyer held course and speed. This wasn't pursuit yet. Protocol mattered. False positives happened. But nobody believed this was one. Electro-optical sensors zoomed in further. The morning haze slowly peeled away, revealing more detail. A clean hull, no nets, no outriggers, no storage boxes, no signs of fishing or recreation. Too clean. And yet, the boat adjusted its heading with precision, slipping around other traffic like it had done this before. That's when the commander made the call. He picked up the radio. Pon Pon, Pon Pon. This is a United States Navy warship requesting immediate response. The hail went out on international distress frequencies. Calm, professional, non-threatening. No response. He repeated it. Still nothing. Silence was logged instantly in the Combat Information Center. Alongside the silence came data. Under 40 feet, twin outboard engines, fuel load heavy enough for speed, but not for mistakes. Every second added clarity. Then the boat accelerated. 26 knots. That was the moment things changed. As the bow lifted slightly, the sensors caught it. The hull was riding heavy, not fish, not passengers. Weight. The classification tightened. Small vessel, high speed, non-compliant, carrying a load. This wasn't suspicion anymore. It was confirmation. The location mattered too. The sailors called this area a funnel, a stretch of sea where southern Caribbean routes narrowed before opening again farther north. Cartels loved it. Minimal coverage, easy exits. At least, that's what they thought. The destroyer still didn't give chase. It stayed steady, pretending indifference, until the runner blinked. The boat made a subtle 5-degree turn to port. Not sharp, not panicked. A test. They were checking to see if anyone was watching. The course change was logged instantly. Analysts in the Combat Information Center overlaid it with shipping patterns and patrol routes. It wasn't random. The boat was deliberately staying just inside safe corridors, avoiding known patrol zones. Whoever was on board had done this before. That impressed the crew. But experience wouldn't save them from a 12,000-ton warship. The runner pushed harder, 28 knots, then 30. Now, it was obvious. The destroyer adjusted speed slightly, still not chasing, just staying relevant. On the bridge, the commander smiled. The trap was already set. Visual feeds now showed 3 figures on board the boat. No life jackets, no communication, just hands gripping the frame as the engine screamed behind them. Thermal sensors told the real story. The engines were running hot, too hot. The hull vibrated under stress. Another radio hail went out, calm, repetitive, ignored. That silence was the last thing the runners controlled, because the commander finally gave the order. Launch the helo. The helicopter lifted cleanly from the deck and slid into position above the water. Not aggressive, not low, just present. Thermal imaging locked onto the boat immediately. From above, the problem was obvious. The engines were glowing, bright. The load was forcing the bow high, reducing efficiency. Every second at this speed was burning away their options. Another hail came from the helicopter. No response. The destroyer adjusted speed again, matching pressure without escalating. This wasn't a chase. It was suffocation. That's when the runners panicked. They made a sharp turn to starboard, harder than anything before. This wasn't testing anymore. This was desperation. They were trying to break tracking, force recalculations, create confusion. It failed instantly. The helicopter slid laterally, never losing position. The destroyer didn't move at all. 4 minutes passed, then the speed dropped. 5 knots, then 7. The engines were giving up. From the bridge, the commander authorized a visual warning. At 5:47, a bright green laser cut through the morning air and danced across the boat's deck. A clear message: prepare to be boarded. Still, the boat didn't stop. Rotor wash from the helicopter hammered the water around them, throwing spray across the deck. The destroyer's 5-inch gun mount rotated, just enough to be seen. Another warning came over a bullhorn. This time, one of the men looked back. Fear was unmistakable. That moment was logged too. The runners made one final attempt to accelerate. The engines screamed, then failed. Speed collapsed by 15 knots before the boat finally drifted to a stop. No surrender, just exhaustion. At 6:08 a.m., the boarding team secured the vessel. Inside were 19 packages, cocaine, an estimated value of $98 million. The men were arrested without resistance. This wasn't luck. It was patience, pressure, and restraint. The Navy never needed to fire a shot. If you want more real operations like this, turn on notifications and subscribe. Because out here, the ocean doesn't forgive mistakes, and neither does the U.S. Navy.